Yeah, I did that. Hey guys, my name is JK, and this is JK is Hiking, and I'm all about backpacking, hiking, and gear, and today I want to talk to you about something that happened this past week. This is not a chair zero. This is a chair zero. Last week I talked all about the things I would not go ultralight for, and in the midst of doing that I just picked things up off of my gear that's just sitting right behind me, and when I did, I picked up this cot that says Helinox on it, but I didn't look at this front end that says light cot. I should have picked this up. That's what happens when you're working with a newbie video maker. If you didn't get to watch last week, I'm going to put a card right here where you can link to that video and check that out. I'm also going to have a link at the end of the video so you can go back and see what it is I'm talking about. But today I'm talking about newbie mistakes, but not newbie mistakes in video, but newbie mistakes that I made when I first started backpacking. Like most newbies, I got on YouTube and just started watching video after video after video of guys who backpack, finding out what gear they bring, finding out what food you're supposed to eat, and that's where I got in trouble. I watched Darwin, I watched Dixie, I watched Tim Watson, I watched all these people. I would watch all these videos about what food they would bring when they'd go backpacking, and I guess I decided to bring all of it. This right here is typically what I would call a day's worth of food. There's maybe about 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds of food inside of this bag. Everything's here that I'm gonna need. My breakfast is down in here, all of it fits in this Ziploc bag. My problem is I did 4 days of hiking and I packed 15 pounds of food. If you go to REI or you go to a lot of other backpacking sites, they'll give you gear lists and what you should bring and how much things should weigh. They'll typically say it should weigh between 1 pound and 2.5 pounds for that day. Mine weighed in at almost 4 pounds a day. That's ridiculous. I was adding 5 pounds to my pack in food that never got eaten. As a matter of fact, I would get done at the end of the day and just kind of look at how much food was left over, wondering what the heck I was thinking. So I learned a lot about not packing too much food. The second big mistake that I made was I brought too much water. And by too much water, I mean I brought one of these, and another one of these, and another one of these. I was backpacking from the southern terminus of the Sheltowee Trace. When you start out on the Sheltowee Trace, you are near water probably every couple miles. There's no place you go where you really can't find water at some point on the southern end of the trail. But for me, for some reason, I had it in my head that I needed 3 liters of water. I had a filter. I really only needed this bottle right here, but instead I took 3 of these things. 1 liter of water weighs 2.2 pounds. I only really needed 1 liter at a time, but I carried 3 of these things. So I had 5 pounds of weight on my back for food that I was never going to eat, and I had another 4.4 pounds of water that I just didn't need to be carrying all the time. You do the math, that's almost 9 pounds of extra weight on my back that I was carrying. Obviously, I'm a newbie. The third thing that I made a mistake on, and it's really based on the weather, was I wasn't prepared for what the rain was going to do to my equipment. My backpack is made out of X-Pack material, which is very water resistant, but it is definitely not waterproof. And a lot of my stuff got soaked. But the one thing that really got me was my iPhone 10. I bought the iPhone 10 because it was supposed to be waterproof up to 3 meters. And really, I never planned on being in water. I just planned on getting rained on. Whoever came up with the whole waterproof thing, those people are liars. I never submerged my phone in water, but a lot of water kept running over it. And because of that, it killed my iPhone. And if you know anything about iPhones, if you try and take those things in and get them replaced under warranty with water damage, they just smile at you and say, have a nice day. Basically, I had a nice little $1,000 paperweight. What I now own is one of these guys right here. This is a Lifeproof Case. It's very simple. It's two-piece. It goes together, and it is completely and utterly waterproof. They even tell you there's a little blue sticker inside of the case that says to make sure that you take this thing, put it together, and submerge it in water before you go and get this thing wet. But now I take this with me wherever I go because I can't afford for my phone to get damaged. My iPhone was completely destroyed because I wasn't smart enough to get one of these guys to take care of it. One last thing that I made a mistake on when I started backpacking was I put my gas canister in the bottom of my cook pot. Like I said before, I was hiking for 4 days in weather that was just ridiculous. It was just a deluge of rain, and during all of that rain, it never dawned on me that the humidity that we were going to experience during that was going to get into our stuff as well. I had a Cuban fiber bag around my cook pot to keep it from getting soaked all the time. I never thought about humidity though. And with gas canisters like these, you're going to set them on the ground, put your stove on it, put your cook pot on top. If the ground's wet and you don't think about it and you don't dry this guy off, it's gonna rust. As a matter of fact, I've got the other gas can that I actually used on that trip. You can see all of the rust around the bottom of it. It's just covered in the stuff, and as a result, the inside of my cook pot was completely rusted over. It made it really disgusting to try and eat out of that thing. As a matter of fact, I ended up having to scrub that thing to death just to get the rust out of it. So I did something different. Now whenever I pack my cook pot, I always take all my items that I'm gonna put in here in the bottom. I've got my towel, I got my stove, I got my lighter, I got my pot holder. I put all those down in here. And then I add one extra little item, and that's this guy right here. This is a silica gel pouch. You find these things in like packets of beef jerky and in electronics and stuff. These things are made to keep moisture from getting into whatever area these things are in. So I decided to take one of these and just drop it right here into my pot. That way from now on, I don't have to worry about residual moisture because of humidity or whatever getting in and causing rust to happen and preventing this guy right here from actually causing damage inside of my pot. But that's one way that I've learned to make up for my newbie mistakes. What are some of the mistakes that you guys have made? What are some of the things that you've done as newbies that were just ridiculous and looking back you wish you could have done differently? Why don't you leave a comment below and let me know about the things that you've done. You might be able to prevent me from doing something in the future, and hopefully this can help you out if you are a newbie and you're getting ready to backpack for the first time. Don't do these things. They're bad things. They will mess you up. I got a request from one of the subscribers asking if I would be willing to do a review on this guy, the Helinox Light Cot, now known as the Cot Light. This is a fantastic piece of gear. I actually use it backpacking on occasion. I'm going to talk about that next week. I already know some people are already shaking their heads like, why are you taking a cot on a backpacking trip? But if you tune in next week, you'll be able to find out. So until then, we'll see you next time.